This is Dan Dicks here reporting for Press for Truth. The footage that you just saw was leaked from the inside of the Bohemian Grove during the cremation of care ceremony. This is where some of the world's most powerful and influential men gathered together in secret in Sonoma County, San Francisco, to engage in a mock ritualistic human sacrifice, where they place an effigy of a body on top of an altar and they burn it towards this massive owl god known as Moloch, literally straight out of the Bible. And these are not your average Joes who attend this particular meeting, which is taking place right now as I speak. This is a picture from 1967 that shows Ronald Reagan, the current governor of California at the time, and the then Vice President Richard Nixon in attendance at this mock human ritualistic occult sacrifice. According to the Encyclopedia of Britannica, other notable members have included Clint Eastwood, Henry Kissinger, Walter Cronkite, Richard Nixon, Ronald Reagan, Charles Schwab, Ambrose Bierce, Bret Hart, Mark Twain, and Jack London. And this old Daily Mail article lists some notable members as being Clint Eastwood, Henry Kissinger, Walter Cronkite, Nixon, Reagan, George H.W. Bush, Herbert Hoover, Charles Schwab, Mark Twain, Bill Gates, Conan O'Brien, and Clarence Thomas, just to name a few. Now, this is their official website, which you have to be a member in order to access the website. But I noticed here, under their club employment portal, that they are having openings for employees, but it has all been closed off. In particular, from Monday, July 7th to Friday, August 1st, they are no longer accepting applicants. And that is because, as of the making of this video, they are there right now, today, engaging in this massive occult ritual. Now, yesterday, I posted on X, formerly Twitter, the cremation of care ceremony at the Bohemian Grove is set to kick off tomorrow, while Mark Carney is on a vacation at an undisclosed location. I wonder if there's a correlation. And why would I say such a thing? Well, folks, we've had Canadian prime ministers go there before. In case you didn't know, this is a CBC article way back from 2016, which showed how Colin Powell's emails were hacked, and it revealed that Stephen Harper went to this secret summer camp for the rich and powerful. In fact, here's a National Post article about that. Stephen Harper at the Bohemian Grove, hacked email says ex-leader visited this shadowy GOP summer camp. So this begs the question, is it possible that the current prime minister is also there right now? Well, we're going to look into that, guys. And I also want to share with you a authentic document that I have in my possession. This is the certificate of authenticity that shows that this document is from September 22nd, 1894, and it reveals some very interesting things that you can find no other place other than this document, which I have in my own possession, which is very, very revealing about some of the things that go on there at Bohemian Grove, guys. So we're going to talk about all of that and much more in this video, but really quickly, just before we do, I want to let you know about this Give, Send, Go campaign that I've launched to help save and protect Press for Truth. In case you didn't know, I started Press for Truth in 2006, 19 years ago now, of doing Press for Truth, and it has led to many attacks, whether that be in real life while being surrounded by mobs like Antifa, BLM, feminists, climate activists, or the LGBTQ community, or whether it be from institutions who shadow ban me, block me, or cancel me, simply because I go against the status quo and because I'm interested in pressing for truth. And in case you didn't know, guys, I am a one-man show. I do all the research, the filming, the editing, the posting. I run everything on the back end, like my website and the 8 various platforms that I upload to, and I handle all the administrative tasks as well. And I've only ever relied on you, the viewers, to help me to continue doing this work. So with your help, I can better protect myself with bodyguards while covering events, and also by building a team who can help me reach more people than ever. So if you guys want to help Press for Truth grow into something that can truly be a thorn in the side of the powers that ought not be, please consider making a contribution, because again, I can't do this without you. Together we can continue to smash that pyramid of control one brick at a time, and we can continue to awaken new hearts and minds who will help us build a better world for us all. Thank you so much to everybody who has contributed so far. And I also accept Bitcoin, that you can scan this QR code on the screen if that's how you would like to contribute. But again, thank you so much to everybody who does contribute to this campaign. Again, I simply can't do this work without you. All right, guys. I want to start this video off with this 13-year-old video that I made titled Midsummer Hijinks. And this is a very much younger looking me describing a little bit about what can be expected at the Midsummer Hijinks at the Bohemian Grove. So check this out. Hey, what's up guys? It's Dan Dicks here from Press for Truth. It is Wednesday, July 27th, 2011, and tonight marks the eve of the final day of the Midsummer Hijinks at Bohemian Grove. Now, for some of you who may not be aware of what the Grove is, it is a group, it is a club, an all-male club that started way back in 1872, and it has continued right on up until today, literally today. And this is a group of guys who get together for 2 weeks out of the year, every summer, and they meet up in San Francisco, California, in this huge 2,700 acre redwood forest. These are extremely powerful individuals, very influential men. We're talking about presidents and prime ministers, leaders in finance, military men, media moguls, very, very powerful and influential people, and also a younger generation of up-and-coming potential initiates who attend as well. That's why I've always kind of referred to the Bohemian Grove as somewhat of a Illuminati summer training camp, because that's quite literally what it is. Their entire 2-week stay kind of culminates into this huge grandioso end finale of a ceremony called the Cremation of Care. Now, this is a ceremony where members of the Grove will put on black robes and red robes and dress up like little devils and engage in a mock human sacrifice. They will place a body, an effigy, onto an altar, light it on fire, and sacrifice it to this huge 40-foot tall owl god called Moloch. And now the worshipping of Moloch has gone on for thousands and thousands of years. Even the Bible mentions how the ancient Canaanites and Babylonians would often sacrifice their children through the fire to this deity known as Moloch. And the reason for this is they thought that they were pleasing their god. They also thought that they were gaining power from it. This is where the elite's entire philosophy of order out of chaos really stems from. And this whole concept that death breeds life, much like the symbolism of the phoenix bird, which rises from the ashes. So the reason why they called their ceremony the Cremation of Care is because that is exactly what is going on. They are cremating their care. They are killing off their God-given conscience. And when a young up-and-coming initiate places the body on the altar, lights it on fire in this ceremony, this ritualistic ceremony, he is proving that he is willing to do that, to kill off his care and his conscience, and then he moves up the ranks, and in the he moves up the ladder. And very often members of the Grove will later in life turn up in extremely high positions of power. So, it's really wild when you look into the whole occult connection into these globalists. I started looking into it back in the year 2000. What kicked it off for me is I saw a film by Alex Jones called Dark Secrets Inside Bohemian Grove. And that really started me looking into it all. Looked into it for a few years and then kind of forgot about it a little bit. And then 5 years later, Alex released another film called The Order of Death, another film on the Bohemian Grove. And I was like, oh yeah, Bohemian Grove. So I started looking into it again. And it was very shortly after that I started my YouTube channel, which is Weaving Spider. The reason for that is the Bohemian Grove's motto is "Weaving spiders come not here." And that's exactly what I'm all about, is exposing these guys and exposing the wicked deeds that they're doing in secret. So I chose that for my YouTube channel. So there you saw my brief description that I put out well over a decade ago now of what happens at the Bohemian Grove. And you'll notice I mentioned that I became aware of this in the year 2000 because of a documentary film by Alex Jones that was titled Dark Secrets Inside Bohemian Grove. So I also want to show you his kind of introduction to that documentary film because this was put out 25 years ago now. And again, it's what inspired me to look into the organization. So check this out.
Hello, I'm Alex Jones, and I'm a radio and television host based in Austin, Texas. And for many years, I've been exposing the criminal activities of the global elite, also known as the New World Order. In past films, we've documented the centralization of power, the move towards world government, the attack on the nation state, self-defense, the Second Amendment, family values, that is, the family itself, as well as private property rights. But time and time again in my research, I come, well, eye to eye with something that's even hard for me to believe. And that's that the elite, again, the so-called establishment kings, those that know best, the visions of the anointed ones, are obsessed with the occult, from presidents to governors to the heads of industry. We've all seen the stories of presidents and first ladies obsessed with their astrologers making national policy decisions upon their recommendations, spiritual guides, shamans in the White House. My friends, it gets far worse than that. Now, I personally am a Christian, but even an atheist should be concerned about the information we're about to bring forward in this new documentary film, The Dark Secrets Inside Bohemian Grove. You see, for over 120 plus years in Northern California, in Sonoma County, on a 2,700-acre secluded redwood grove, leaders from around the world, prime ministers, chancellors, presidents, governors, again, the heads of industry, banking, academia, the media, Hollywood, only a select few, a little over 2,000 people, travel there to engage in bizarre, ancient Canaanite, Luciferian, Babylon mystery religion ceremonies. At least that was the rumors. And so I went to the library and got on the internet and saw many of the mainstream news articles admitting that world leaders do indeed go there, and they fly into San Francisco and other surrounding cities and drive out into the rural hills and mountains of Northern California, and that these stories have been coming out that they worship some 45-foot stone owl god. And then I began to read some of the documentation on this Moloch character of the Old Testament, mentioned many times in Leviticus. That's in the Bible. Why are world leaders traveling to the middle of nowhere to worship this thing? Well, I had to check it out for myself. And I'm proud of my team. Mike Hansen, Violet Nichols. They traveled with me there. We talked to some of the locals discreetly. We successfully infiltrated, with the help of some of the locals and Channel 4, World of Wonder, British television that teamed up with us. And I successfully infiltrated through the Secret Service, through the guards, through the Sonoma County Sheriff's Department. We were inside 4 hours. That's only one day out of the 2 weeks that they meet there for the admitted Summer Fire Festival of the Bohemian Club. Well, basically that's enough for me. It's hard to even describe it with words, and I hope that our hidden cameras can give you at least a small piece of what I witnessed. To have world leaders engaging in this type of sickening behavior, oh yes, there's much more to come. Mock human sacrifices, they claim, just shocks the very foundations of what Americans believe their leaders to be. And then to have it intimately connected with world government. It doesn't make a lot of sense until you research history. All throughout history, spanning back into the midst of the beginnings of civilization, we see world leaders from the empires of old, from the Aztec kings and priests to Babylonian leaders to ancient Rome, engaging in twisted behavior. Could it be that when you have all the power and all the women and all the money and all the lands and all the art, you have to do something new? You have to go against the basic grain of humanity. You have to get off in a sick way. That's what we witnessed in Northern California, July 15th, 2000. Get ready to go inside the Bohemian Grove.
So again, that was 25 years ago, where Alex Jones was exposing the Bohemian Grove. And I want to share with you another just classic of when Jones confronted a man named David Gergen, who is very much so an insider, just a member of this global elite who took part in, the ritualistic sacrifice, cremation of care. Watch Alex Jones here, way back in the day, confronting David Gergen about attending Bohemian Grove.
One last question. I read a Washington Times article many years ago where you had a comment about the organization, and then now it's been in the Wall Street Journal, it's been in a lot of different newspapers, and that's the Bohemian Grove. And back in, 1996, when you joined as a Clinton advisor, the Republicans were criticizing you. Oh, what about Bohemian Grove? And then you countered them by saying, "Hey, I don't run around in the woods naked." What did that mean? Here is the before-mentioned Washington Times article where he said, "I didn't run around naked like they do."
I don't know what quote you're referring to. I'm not aware of any quote like that. Listen, I am a happy member of the Bohemian Grove. I like the folks who come there, and it's really inappropriate for me to talk about the group beyond that. Thank you.
Have you been there for the ceremony with the cremation of care?
Frankly, I don't think that's something I need to talk to you about.
Great owl of Bohemia, we thank thee for thy adjuration.
Have you been there for the ceremony with the cremation of care?
Frankly, I don't think that's something I need to talk to you about.
Really?
That's right.
Well, I'm Alex Jones, and I snuck in there in 2000. I'm the guy that blew it wide open and got the video. It's been on national TV.
Well, I disrespect you for that.
You do?
I do.
But it's a lot of big public officials going in there. Don't we deserve to know?
I don't know anything about you, and I don't know anything about your film. But if you go in there with an understanding, you violated that understanding by releasing that film, and I don't respect you for that.
Really? But we have public officials.
I'm sorry. You took an understanding when you went in there that you would not do that film. And did you have an understanding when you went in there?
No.
Did you crash it?
Yes.
Yeah, and it has no trespassing signs there too, doesn't it?
No, they put them up after.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I just walked in.
I'm sorry, sir. I've been there before. I know what the circumstances are, and I'm sorry you violated the understandings. That was not a gentlemanly thing to do.
But what about the ritual? Is the ritual gentlemanly?
Sir, everything I don't owe you this comment.
I know. I appreciate it.
This is what's called ambush journalism, and I disrespect you for that as well. So thank you and goodbye.
Have you ever been in the ritual?
It's none of your damn business.
Oh,
that's right. Listen. You go around and make understandings with people and violate them. You ambush people on the streets, and that's inappropriate form of journalism. If you wish to practice that, that's fine, but don't ask others to respect you for it. If you want to, you can do. You're free American, like anything you want. If you want to be uncivil and rude and ungentlemanly, that's up to you. But don't expect the rest of us to say, "Oh well, you're
there, Mr. Gergen."
I'm sorry, nobody sets policy in there. We try to be gentlemen, and obviously, you don't belong there.
Weaving spiders come out here. Yeah, that is a 3-pointer. Woo!
Yes, slam dunk indeed. That was a classic from Alex Jones. But as I said, these are the kind of questions that we need to be asking these insiders who take part in this, because we're talking about some of the world's most powerful and influential people, presidents, and yes, even prime ministers like Stephen Harper and potentially Mark Carney, which is why I put this out just yesterday, asking the question, is Mark Carney attending today during his secret undisclosed vacation? And again, I think it's a valid question when you consider that Stephen Harper attended the Bohemian Grove. So let's take a quick look at this National Post article. Colin Powell, a former U.S. Secretary of State under President George H.W. Bush, confirmed Tuesday that hacked emails from his personal account were indeed genuine. U.S. media focused their coverage on Powell's marked disdain for Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump. In one email, Powell even called Trump an international pariah. But for Canadians, there's another compelling tidbit in the emails, specifically in this July 2016 email that Powell addressed to the former Canadian Attorney General Peter MacKay. Here he says, "Peter, I'm back from the Bohemian Grove. Surprise, surprise, I sat next to Stephen Harper a couple of times and had a nice discussion. Grove attendees know that Trump is a disaster. Most will vote against, but quite a few will not vote for Hillary and will vote for a third-party candidate. Strange doings down here. Otherwise, all is well with the Powells. We'll sneak away for a few days in August. Of course, I'd love to see you. Let me know your dates. I told Stephen that you seemed quite content in your new place in life." So the article goes on to ask the question, what is the Bohemian Grove? Well, that's where all those rich Republicans go out and stand naked against redwood trees, is how former President Bill Clinton summed up the Bohemian Grove after he was questioned about it by a heckler in 2007. Guys, if you haven't seen that footage, check it out.
The Bohemian Club, as you say, the Bohemian Club? That's where all those rich Republicans go up and stand naked against redwood trees, right? I've never been to the Bohemian Club, but you ought to go. It'd be good for you. Get some fresh air.
Guys, when you have guys like Bill Clinton just making jokes and laughing it all away, I mean, that's a bit of a cause for concern. And as I said, let's get back to this National Post article here about what was Harper doing there. Well, he was probably invited by a member, since the only alternative is to cross one's fingers and to get on a 20-year waiting list and pay a rumored $25,000 U.S. initiation fee. However Harper got in, it's likely that he got quite the show. One source told the National Post that this year's attendees could have seen the rare spectacle of Colin Powell and Henry Kissinger performing a send-up of the history of American humor. So it goes on to ask, has Harper attended any other mysterious international meetings? Yes, actually. When he was the leader of the opposition, Harper attended a meeting of the Bilderberg Group, an organization that stages hyper-private conferences of political and financial elites at select locations around the world. And I've been covering the Bilderberg Group ever since this happened for over 19 years ago, because in case you didn't know, Harper attended in 2003, and then just 2 years later, he becomes, Prime Minister of Canada. In fact, if you go to my YouTube channel and you do a search for my oldest videos, it's all my coverage of the Bilderberg 2006 meeting in Ottawa. And so, here you have Harper attending in 2003, then becoming Prime Minister of Canada. He's a member of the Bilderberg Group. Well, so is Mark Carney on the steering committee of the Bilderberg Group, who, is attending these secret meetings just like his buddy Stephen Harper. So to ask the question if he could possibly be attending this meeting, I think is a very, very valid question. Now, I want to share with you this, as I said, original document that I have in my possession. And I'm going to just go right now to my camera phone and I'll show you what I'm talking about here and what I have. This is a Harper's Weekly from September 22nd, 1894. Again, this is the original newspaper, so I want to be very careful with this original document. And let's just open it up here to this massive article titled The Bohemian Club of San Francisco. And again, it's a very lengthy article, as you can see here. But for the purposes of today's video, I want to just read to you some of the more interesting stuff that I've found here. The band was at its head, playing the dirge, behind it a somber catafalque on which roasted a draped coffin, borne by 8 men in white robes, and supposed to contain the body of Care. Behind that came a long line of choristers in white, all carrying torches, and the high priest of Bohemia, in picturesque robes, came last, with the gypsy chief, the sire of the evening. Around those were red devils and gnomes in fantastic masks, bearing blue lights and moving to and fro incessantly. Then came the members and the guests of the club, making a long procession, wonderfully weird, under those giant trees lit up with red fire. Over in a little hollow a few hundred yards from the grove was built a funeral pyre on which turpentine had been sprinkled. The coffin was laid on the pyre. The high priest took his stand on the platform beside it. Around him, in a semicircle, the choristers and demons with their torches were grouped. The high priest went through a ceremonial in which the choir behind him intoned or sang the words he spoke. He called on the Bohemians to present their carking cares and their heartaches to be put on the pyre and burned up. Then some jokes pertinent to club members, and matters. Then he invoked the Saint John of Nepomuc, adopted by the club for his appropriateness in several ways, and suddenly an enormous figure of St. John in his robes burst into flames. The pyre was lighted. Care and the Blue Devils went up in the most beautiful and effective form of fireworks, and amid jubilant cries, the hijinks was over. Again, guys, this is a document that dates back to 1894. Again, this is a certificate of authenticity, and this is at a time when the press could obviously speak a lot more freely about these types of things, which you're certainly not going to hear any of this type of stuff from today's media other than channels like mine. So I wanted to bring that to your attention, guys. And also, just all this, just the fact that, this is going on today, and you've got all these kind of influential people attending there, including the fact that Stephen Harper once attended. So I think it's a very valid question as to whether or not Mark Carney is there literally today, as we speak, engaging in an occult, ceremonial, ritualistic sacrifice to the owl god known as Moloch. Let me know what you guys think about all of this in the description, in the comment section below. And also check that description for the top link to where you can find my Give, Send, Go campaign if you do appreciate my efforts to continuously bring you this type of information. So that's all for today, guys. Just wanted to bring that to your attention. Please click the thumbs up button, share this video, and stay tuned, guys. We're going to have more video reports coming soon, God willing. This is Dan Dicks reporting for Press for Truth. We all want truth. The truth will set you free, free, free.